So let's start with the new topic, or we can say the new chapter, that is hydrology. Okay, so this hydrology, in this hydrology term, we have one important word, that is hydro, meaning water. Okay, so this hydrology subject is relatively, or I can say it is a very easy subject, very small and easy subject, and the questions which are asked or the numericals which are asked, the models are fixed. Okay, so the fixed models are there. So based on that only the questions are asked. So for any examination, this is one of the easiest subject and one of the scoring subject. So what we are going to see in this hydrology, so the main aim in this hydrology is to study the science of water. So what do we mean by the study of science of water? That means how do we get the water and how the water gets circulated in the earth, or we can say from earth surface to atmosphere, and then again from atmosphere to earth. So in a short word, if I want to define hydrology, then it is nothing but it is the study of hydrological cycle. So it is a study of hydrological cycle. Now this hydrological cycle, this term, you have heard it many times. So what happens in this hydrological cycle? So let's draw a diagram here and try to understand. So this is the earth surface. It is meeting here to an ocean. Okay, so this is ocean. Now what we are going to study here is, let's give the name hydrological cycle. So the main force that is driving this hydrological cycle is the sun. So due to the radiation from sun, that we call it as solar radiation, there is increase in temperature. So due to the increase in temperature, what happens? The water in the ocean starts evaporating. Okay, so the first phase here is the evaporation. So what is the meaning of evaporation? It is the conversion of water into water vapor, that is change of state from liquid to gas. Now once it starts evaporating, these water vapors, then it gets collected, and there is a formation of clouds. There is a formation of clouds. Now let's take an example that wind is flowing in this direction. Then what happens is that these clouds slowly, they are coming on this side. We'll study in detail how the rain falls and everything. So we'll just assume right now that we know everything, and these clouds are now, after coming after certain distance, there is a next phenomenon that we call it as precipitation. Okay, so rainfall and precipitation, these both are different things. Okay, rainfall is a form of precipitation. It is one of the form. Precipitation is a general name which is given for any deposition of water on the earth surface. Now this which you are seeing here, this we will call it as precipitation. Okay, now the water, we'll also take an example that certain clouds are present here also and some water is here. Okay, now this water is falling here on earth surface. So this which we have drawn here, this is earth surface. Okay, now when the water is falling from the clouds, there is a certain amount of water which is getting evaporated again. Okay, so not all the water reaches the earth surface, certain amount of water during falling to the ground surface, it gets evaporated. Okay, so let's give this name as E1. This is evaporation number 1, primary evaporation, and this is secondary evaporation, E2. Now once the water falls on the earth surface, okay, then what happens, there is the next phenomena which starts, that is the water starts getting inside the earth surface. This phenomena is called as infiltration. It is called as infiltration. Okay, so now the water has entered into the earth surface. Now after entering into the earth surface, there are two things that can happen. One thing is that the part of this entered water, it can flow along this slope, okay, and some part may go further inside. So the part of this water which does not go inside and starts flowing along with the slope, this part is called as interflow. Okay, so this is called as interflow. And the part which is going further inside, what it does, it reaches a level which we call it as groundwater level. Okay, so now we have drawn here one level. This level is called as ground water, or just we'll name that groundwater, and this is called as groundwater table. So this water, infiltrated water, then meets the groundwater. Now this groundwater also slowly flows and further it meets the ocean. If there is a certain stream which is present inside this groundwater, then what happens is that this groundwater starts entering into this storage, or we can say in this stream. See, we are seeing the section here, we are not seeing the elevation. So this depression which you are seeing, this may be a river also, which is extending in longitudinal direction. Okay, it can be like this, a river also. So right now we are just seeing the section, so try to imagine that much. So this groundwater also flows in some direction, and that flow is sometimes called as base flow. Okay, so right now in this video, just try to understand the basic terms here. What is the meaning of evaporation? What is precipitation? What is infiltration? What is interflow? What is groundwater? What is base flow? Okay, so this each process which we are seeing, this each process is a separate chapter in hydrology. That is it, what we have to study in this chapter. Now there is one more thing that we have not discussed. Let's quickly see it. See, certain amount of precipitation which is falling. Let's say if there is some structure which is present on the surface. Let's say that there is a tree which is present. Okay, now what will happen when this water is falling on the tree? The leaves which are present, these leaves will also capture some of the water. Okay, so the water which is captured by the collective group of the leaves. Okay, so I am using here a new term, collective group of leaves. So this we can call it as leaf foliage. So this is a new term, so that's why I'm writing. If you see a term which is called as leaf foliage, that means all the leaves which are present on a particular tree, we are considering it as a one single entity. Okay, so all the water which is getting collected by the leaves here, we call that as intercepted water, and this process here is called as interception. Interception. Okay, denoted by, it is a minor loss, so let's not denote it, because the major infiltration, it is denoted by I. Okay, now just pay attention to the most important thing in this hydrology, that is runoff. Okay, so that we have not given it here. See, what happens is that when the water, so try to understand the process. Initially the water has been evaporated, then slowly it is turning into the clouds, then these clouds are giving some precipitation. When the precipitation is occurring, that means when the rainfall is falling on the earth surface, it is getting infiltrated in the groundwater. Okay, it is getting infiltrated inside. So when the rate of infiltration, or we can say when the rate of rainfall is more, then what will happen is that certain amount of water will not enter into the earth surface and it will directly start flowing along the slope to this direction. I hope you are able to imagine. So certain amount of water, it is not going inside, it is not infiltrating. Why it is not infiltrating? Because it is already infiltrated, the soil has become saturated, now it is not taking more water. Now whatever the excess water is there, it is getting flowed along this land which is there. Okay, so this flow which is happening over the land, this is called as overland flow. Okay, very very important, this is called as overland flow, and this overland flow is only called as, or it is also called as, a runoff. Okay, so the most important thing we have to study in this is runoff, because this runoff itself, it is the major parameter which is causing the discharge in the streams. Okay, so these are all the things that we have to study in hydrology. So starting with evaporation, precipitation, evaporation, interception, then overland flow, runoff, infiltration. So these are all the things that we have to study. Okay, so this is about the hydrologic cycle. Now from the next chapter we will start with the new concept, or we can say with the general idea about what is the total amount of water that is available to us on the earth, also global perspective and the Indian perspective of total water available. Okay, so that's it with this lecture. Let's meet in the next lecture.